What's good, guys? This week, Elon takes over Twitter, magnetic slime that moves through the body, giant Arctic sea sponges, animal sentience consensus, and Russia hands over the ISS to NASA. Elon Musk has bought a whopping $3 billion in Twitter shares, making him Twitter's largest shareholder. His share is now 9.2%, even more than former CEO Jack Dorsey's. He's also been appointed to the board, with the current CEO, Parag Agrawal, saying that he's both a passionate believer and intense critic of the service, which is exactly what we need on Twitter and in the boardroom to make us stronger in the long term. Elon has been highly critical of Twitter due to what he sees as a lack of free speech. He hasn't given us examples of how Twitter limits free speech, although we can assume he's referring to cases such as when Trump was permanently banned from the site when he was president. On the other hand, Elon's critics say that he is an example of how Twitter allows free speech, as he's made a number of controversial tweets, one that even led him to being sued unsuccessfully for defamation. So, do you think that Elon will change Twitter for the better or for the worse? Let us know in the comments below. Is your pet, or your baby for that matter, constantly swallowing stuff they shouldn't? Well, this might be the solution. Scientists at the Chinese University of Hong Kong have used magnetic slime to create a slimy robot that can navigate narrow passages to clear objects and fix broken circuits. The scientists used neodymium magnetic particles with borax, a common household detergent, and polyvinyl alcohol, a kind of resin, to form a slime that can be controlled by an external magnetic field. They then added a silicon compound that coats the magnetic particles to make them non-toxic for use in the human body. The team tested the robot in different scenarios. For example, they saw if it could retrieve a lost battery in a model's stomach, and it seemed to do quite well. The slime could also heal itself or come back together when it's cut into bits. Now the team just needs to make sure that the toxic magnetic particles don't escape through the silicon, and then maybe next time you swallow something stupid, you'll be saved by one of these little guys. This is the Langseth Ridge, an underwater mountain range not far from the North Pole. It used to have volcanic activity, but it now sits beneath a permanent sheet of ice. It has no food, no nutrients, and very little light. It doesn't sound like a nice place to live, does it? Well, not if you're a tube worm. See, thousands of years ago, when the area had volcanic activity, sulfur was being released all the time, providing food for the tube worms. But when the volcanic activity stopped, the worms ran out of food, died, and became fossils. Now scientists have discovered that another species is thriving there. They were surprised to find that this barren seafloor is like a paradise of massive sea sponge gardens. The sponges are about 300 years old, grow up to 1 meter long, and feed on fossilized tube worms. Yum! While the scientists are thrilled about their discovery, they're concerned that the sea ice rapidly declining and the ocean's environment's changing, these strange sea sponges may be impacted badly. Do babies feel pain? That question sounds stupid, but actually up until the 1980s, some doctors believed that babies didn't feel pain and performed surgery on them with little to no anesthesia. Now, we can all accept that babies do feel pain and they should be protected from it, but the next milestone is animals. Most of us accept that vertebrates like dogs and cats feel pain and shouldn't be made to endure it. But what about invertebrates like octopuses and bugs? While it's taken science and culture a while to come around to it, a recent issue of Science magazine says that a consensus is starting to form. Yes, invertebrates feel emotions, not just pain. A 2016 study found that rats experience joy and something similar to laughter when they're tickled. And a study from the last year found that octopuses not only experience pain, they remember the pain and change their behavior even long after the pain has stopped. So, just like how we came to accept that babies feel pain and should be legally protected, now that we're getting to a scientific consensus that invertebrates feel pain, the laws on animal protection should be updated. Don't you agree? Let us know your thoughts. Last week, Russia handed over control of the ISS to NASA while the world watched on nervously. With so much tension between Russia and the rest of the world, people were watching the ISS change of command ceremony with knots in their stomach. But thankfully, everything went smoothly. Russian cosmonaut Anton Shaplerov said people will have problems on Earth, but in orbit, we're all one crew. I think the ISS is a symbol of friendship, cooperation, and the future of space exploration. Eyebrows were raised when the replacement Russian team arrived in yellow and blue suits, the same color as the Ukrainian flag, but Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, quickly dismissed it as a coincidence. Since the change of command, the head of Roscosmos threatened to leave the ISS for good unless Western nations lift sanctions on Russia. Maybe he should take a leaf from Anton's book and see that cooperation and peace is the only way to move forward. That's all for this week, guys. A massive thank you to everyone who came along to our Peter Singer tour around Australia. It was a blast seeing you all there. Hopefully I'll catch you at our Brian Greene tour, which kicks off in June, or at some of our Thinking Academy courses starting back next month. Find more information at that link in our bio. Until next week, guys. Peace.